Ibrahim Traore knows this, and he has said it. We are financial slaves to these people if we keep collecting all these funds and collecting all this aid from the so-called World Bank and IMF. But our democratic leaders don't see anything wrong with it. That a minister will come up and say, we are trying our best to convince the IMF to give us some money. Kings and Queens, Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Trust you and yours are well and you're loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you my esteemed subscribers. You loved, celebrated and appreciated. So we will talk about IMF, a fund and World Bank loan again, because sometimes it's like we don't understand. We think everything is a joke, and we sit down, and as we sit down thinking that all is well, right before our faces a lot is going on. We've talked about this a lot, about this IMF fund and the World Bank loan a lot of times. Like on this channel we've been talking about it, and it's like the thing is not, we are not understanding what is going on. Okay, with the new government of Ghana, I was thinking that things will change. There's still hope anyway, but let's just give a benefit of the doubt. If the ministers under John Mahama of Ghana is still hoping on IMF for loan, I don't know what John Mahama himself will be thinking, because I don't see a reason why someone under his cabinet will still be struggling to go get more loans. Ghana already is in debt, just like all African countries that are in debt. The Sahel region are trying their best to pay off debts. And Ibrahim Traore have told us that these debts are traps, okay? He had rejected IMF and fund and World Bank loan for a lot of times. They've used it to entice him. I brought that information here. And he said, no, he's not collecting any money. And all he's doing right now is gradually paying the debt that Burkina Faso is owing World Bank, paying the debts. Mali is also paying their debts. Niger is paying their debts. They are looking to see how they cut off from this grip of Europe and America. And then we see other countries that you should expect more from. They keep, like disappointing you, and you don't even know what to think anymore, because goodness me. Anyway, I want us to listen to this information. You can follow him on YouTube as well. He's Survivor Media. I think I've been bringing some of his talk here. He's a young man who has a lot of energy in talking. So let's listen to his analysis and then hear what is happening in Ghana.
Something really disturbing. I am satisfied and a little bit curious and disappointed. This is the reason why. Ghana's new elected president John Mahama has reduced the number of government ministry from 30 to 23. This initiative is part of a strict economic reform program connected to the $3 billion bailout from the IMF secured in 2022. The goal is to cut government costs and improve efficiency as required by the IMF to help Ghana overcome its debt crisis. So this initiative gives us three key takeaways: reducing cost, economic recovery, and global attention, because both domestic and international observers are closely monitoring Ghana's progress as we are working to recover economically. And I love this initiative. Now, instead of going forward with how we should pay back the IMF, how we should remove the nation out of debt, this is my problem. Atufosin, the new finance minister, made these remarks ahead of meeting with an IMF team. In quote, "We are committed to working with the IMF, but we also want to ensure we can raise additional financing with the help of the IMF and other partners." But I want to ask the question, when are we as a country going to live and develop without involving this conspiracy organization IMF, designed to cripple our economy? Because anytime we are in crisis and IMF come into the picture with their directives, we experience more taxes and hardship imposed on our population. The mistake from our side, we borrow the money and then it goes into consumption instead of production. So with the mention of IMF, if we are going to take money from the IMF again, I can confidently tell Ghanaians that we are not going to have removal of taxes, but rather we are going to have replacement of taxes. The e-levy, the betting tax and co will go, but to be replaced by new ones. It is high time African leaders, including the Ghanaian politicians, stop giving us the impression that without IMF, nothing can be done. That cannot be true because the military leaders in the Sahel have exposed all of you democratic leaders as lazy leaders because they are doing it in the Sahel without involving any criminal economic organization. And we are here, government after government does nothing but to plunge the nation in debt through borrowing and begging. We have become beggars. What happened to the use of our resources to develop ourselves like other nations? Let me quote a word from Ibrahim Traore. I'm quoting him because these are the people who came on board and they are setting a new standard different from the old chart. In quote, Africa doesn't need World Bank, IMF, Europe or America. We have the resources to build our own economy without relying on loans. It is time to stop being financially slaves. That is from Traore, somebody you call military leader. We are not supposed to respect because he's not democratic. You see, where we have gotten to, we need to start asking questions. How was Nkrumah able to champion this development we see today without landing the nation in debt? It is a shame for any leader from both the NDC, the MPP, to open their mouth today that we've not been able to achieve what Nkrumah have achieved since 1960s. In fact, we should be doing better than what Nkrumah did because we are now in more advanced world with much more better education, but still we cannot match up to him. Instead of us to work with what we have become lazy people, always begging and begging, borrowing and borrowing without being able to pay back or develop. When is this nonsense going to stop?
Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traore stands firm, rejects financial assistance from IMF and World Bank. In a bold and unprecedented move, President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso has taken a decisive stance against the conventional norms of global financial assistance. In a stunning display of national sovereignty, Traore has firmly rejected any form of financial aid from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. This captivating decision has sent shockwaves through the international community as the leader of Burkina Faso charts a new path towards economic independence and self-reliance. Amidst a backdrop of skepticism, President Ibrahim Traore has stood unwavering in the face of external pressures. His steadfast refusal to accept financial assistance from these global institutions stems from his belief in the principle of self-determination and the need for Burkina Faso to chart its own economic destiny.
Oh my goodness, it's unfortunate that's Survival Media Day. Like I said, he's on YouTube. You can follow him up as well. It's unfortunate that we are becoming lazy by day. So lazy. And there was something he pointed out that what our democratic leaders have been saying is impossible. The so-called military leaders that they told us not to respect because they are military. They took leadership by force. They didn't do it democratically. They are bad guys. These bad guys have showed us within these few years that they are in this position that what these democratic leaders say is impossible is very much possible. So what are we saying? The Sahel is doing it. Those guys that you all call uneducated, you all call tyrants. Yes, they use that word a lot. They call them tyrants. They call them, what's that word? Juntas. These men are shaping the narrative of the Sahel. These men are shaping the narrative. They are changing the narrative, of course, for the better. They are doing what you all democratic leaders cannot do with your PhDs and your certificates and your knowledge, your education, your exposure. What you cannot do, the Sahel young men are doing it. So what are we going to say about this? That shows that our democratic leaders are lazy. And of course, we don't even know what they are using their brains for. I'm sorry, but this is just the whole thing. Because you say you can't do this. You can't live without collecting loans. And then the Sahel leaders, the military leaders that you all have, destroyed their reputation, are telling you that you can survive without IMF. And Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, for goodness sake, is the most poorest region in the world according to to mainstream media. This poorest region in the world, after the revolution, are changing narratives. Their economy is bouncing back. Is it magic? If it is magic, please, democratic leaders in Africa, go and ask these Sahel military leaders to give you that charm. Oh. They should give you that charm that they are using to change this narrative. Oh. If you think it's charm they are using, go and ask them to give it to you. Because things are changing. The youths are not going to sit down and look at you, give them flimsy excuses anymore. How can you, with all your education, do not know that IMF loans and fundings are a trap? But Ibrahim Traore knows this, and he has said it. We are financial slaves to these people if we keep collecting all these funds and collecting all this aid from the so-called World Bank and IMF. But our democratic leaders don't see anything wrong with it. That a minister will come up and say, we are trying our best to convince the IMF to give us some money. Like Survivor Media said, this money, when it even comes, the people don't see the use of this money. What is the essence of collecting the money even? Because they will siphon this money among themselves, the ministers. They will begin to change their cars. They will begin to change their houses. Last time we had an evaluation on how much a minister, a senator in Nigeria receives. And it was almost the same amount the president of the United States receives. This is Nigeria that they say nothing is happening. No, Nigeria is poor, no job opportunity, unemployment everywhere, right? People are suffering and crying, there's no food. Oh, this is the same Nigeria that their senators are collecting the same amount that is equivalent to what the United States president collects. They collect these loans and foot their bills. Your Majesties, are we not ashamed? And you call yourself a leader? A leader where you are up there, those who you are leading are underground. You are milking from them. You are using their name to collect loan. And these loans you collect, you don't even do anything tangible with this loan to help you generate something back that you pay back. You don't do that. You want to collect loan to pay senator salaries. It's only in Africa, among the democratic leaders, that you see this nonsense happening. They collect loan from IMF to pay salaries of senators and ministers. And these senators and ministers are not even ashamed. They can't even say, okay, let's sacrifice this month for the nation. They are collecting. And they are looking for more because even the salary is not enough for them. It is high time we begin to open ourselves and tell ourselves this truth. If not, nothing is going to change except we change. I keep saying it here. Before kingdom change, man must change. If we do not want to change our perspective, the way we look at situation, the way we do things, then nothing will change. Sahel changed. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger changed because the men who were ruling changed. The mode of leadership changed, and so they changed. You all were there telling everybody, why are you supporting this military guys? They are not educated. They don't know what they are doing. To lead people is not to go for battle or for war. But they are telling you, they are letting you know that you are the one that don't even know what leadership is. The Sahel leaders are the true leaders that we have in the motherland. I'm sorry, but that is what we are seeing. That these three leaders are the only leaders we have in the motherland that are active and are true leaders. Because a leader has qualities, and all these qualities, the Sahel leaders have it. So what are we saying? With all the whole democratic mindset, with all the whole, okay, we have to rule like this, we have to do like that, we have to follow this process. A lot of African leaders have insulted these Sahel leaders. They've done everything, paid medias, to turn people's mind against the Sahel leaders. Courtesy of Europe and America, of course. But when you look at the situation today, you see that these Sahel leaders are proving them all wrong. Like I told you, I saw this coming. I felt it that this is a change, and of course it is a change. The truth remains that IMF funding or International Monetary Fund is not something that Africans should be delving towards again. That trend has to begin to fade in this year. And what nations in the motherland should begin to do is to plan on how to pay back whatever it is they are owing these people. The Sahel leaders are doing it. You democratic leaders that claim you are wise enough and you are very brilliant, you can do it as well. Because those you insult and call them uneducated, they are doing it. What do you think? Leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section, and I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive, always your majesty. Bye for now.